Guys, welcome back. We are not in our usual location. We are at the new Common Grounds that's open in Almas Tower with Mr. Tom Arnel, the man behind everything that you see here. This is the Creator Sessions, and welcome. Tom, welcome.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
morning.
Yeah, good morning. So happy to be on the podcast.
Mate, it's great to have you. We've been watching what you've been doing over the last few years. The business really seems to be booming at the moment, so we want to get into a few different things. Ask you how you're juggling your family life with building the business as fast as you are. But we also want to dig into a little bit about the mindset around business, like the process of how, when you first started opening Tom and Serg to where you are now, how you've changed as a person. We're very interested in the sort of the headspace of business as well, and sort of the kind of like the mental strength and resilience side of things. You just touched on something off camera, which we were very interested in, about detoxing and cleansing and sort of getting a little bit spiritual things, something that Dia loves. So yeah, let's kick off.
Amazing conversations just before we start. But for everybody that maybe like doesn't know the backstory, maybe we start there. Just tell us like what inspired you to create this amazing sort of community around coffee culture, around common grounds, and what's the backstory behind it all?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Do you want the long version or the short version?
Up to you.
No, I'll try and make the long version short. But I'm a chef, so that's how I started. Ever since I was a kid, I sort of had a passion for food, but not a massive one. I never did that well in school. I think I was sort of a little bit too... I was always a creative kid, but I never really had the patience to sort of sit in the classroom and really sort of learn what I was told to learn. And that was always a bit of an issue for me. So I never did really well at high school, but I always knew that I wanted to do other stuff, and I was just so interested in so many different things. And I guess I finished high school, and I knew I wanted to sort of, well, actually, no, I got into economics at university, and I just pulled out of that like at the 11th hour and went to Schoolies Week, which is our 2-week sort of party after you finish high school. And I literally never went home from that. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that was like, I became a chef in the town that we went to Schoolies Week.
Nice.
No way.
So, like literally never went home. I went home to my parents often, but never went to back to live.
That was the start of the journey.
House. And yeah, that was the start of the journey. So from there, I just sort of traveled around the world a bit, and started cooking in all these great places around the world, and some really high-end places as well. I cooked in Artsac, which was a 3-star Michelin, number 7 in the world at the time. Wow! So that's in San Sebastian in Spain. Okay. And then I did some time in Singapore, some time in Oman actually. Okay.
Where were you in Oman?
In Muscat, in the Elbistan Palace Hotel.
Wow. Okay.
So I was a chef in there. Nice. And that's where I met my wife actually.
In
Elbistan? In Oman,
Oh, amazing.
Nice. So,
I grew up as a kid in Oman, so I know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we used to go to Christmas carols at the Elbistan.
Oh, really?
I'm talking like in the, like what would that have been? Early 90s type of time.
Wow.
Yeah, way back then. So
how cool.
I got a lot of affinity with Oman.
Yeah, I loved it. It's so lush and green, and so much, like I really love the culture there. Yeah. And like for example, we would like wake up and go spearfishing in the mornings.
It's amazing.
And like we go spearfishing, but we come out with like lobster.
Nice.
Like cool. It was Omani lobster, and like it was like these huge lobsters that were just so beautiful to eat. So it had a great lifestyle.
Nice. So when did you move to Dubai?
Moved to Dubai in 2010.
Okay.
For a job that I took with Jones the Grocer.
Okay.
I was working for them for like 3 years.
And that made a real splash when it opened as well. Right?
Yeah, it
I
did.
I remember when that opened, and it a lot of people were talking about it. It's quite different. It was I'd say it was the first step towards the kind of the coffee culture that started here. Yeah. And then obviously you doubled down on that afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was funny. I had, when I left Oman, I was only working in fine dining.
Okay.
But I was from Melbourne, so that's where the whole coffee culture thing came from. And I was used to Australian cafe culture, which is basically like a multicultural cuisine or a melting pot of cuisine, I sort of call it, that just has everything on these menus. And it's all about light, healthy food that's very veg heavy, and lots of avocados, and all that sort of thing. So I sort of had that in my veins, but I was cooking this fine dining food, and I actually got an opportunity to work at the Fat Duck in Bray. Coffees are here. That's
coffees are here.
Bring it over.
Sorry, Tom.
We need it. Yeah. Thanks.
No, get it on.
Thanks a lot, mate.
So long blacks. That's good. That's my choice of drink.
Mate, always a long blacks. Three of them, and I start shaking.
Yeah, yeah. This coffee's pretty strong, so you might get that.
It's one of the best coffees in town.
It's why most of my meetings are at Tom and Serg, as you well
Yeah,
know.
right. Yeah.
Some people think I'm Tom from Tom and Serg.
Isn't that funny? Do you know what? I'm going to tell you a quick story then, just because this is funny. But I get that all the time. They think that you are me.
No way.
All the time. All the time.
I can see the resemblance here, by the way. I can see the resemblance.
All the time. And this is the funniest thing ever, right?
I think what we need to do is
Amazing.
take a picture next to each other and post it on our Instagram, just so you guys let us know if you think the same.
Okay, well, I'll tell you something else really funny, right?
Okay.
There's a guy sitting over there right now that has been my customer from day one, literally.
Okay.
His name is Ed.
Okay.
And he also gets confused for me. And I can see the resemblance in him as well. And when you guys walked in this morning, someone went up from your team went up to him and said, "Oh, hi, Tom."
This guy sat next to Jen.
Probably. Yeah.
I swear to God, when I came in and sat down next to Jen, I looked over and I was like, damn, that looks like Tom.
Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah. So yeah, he's one of our best customers
That
as
is
well
so
as
funny.
you are. So he's
Amazing.
also in our place every day working, which he's doing right now over
So
there.
good.
So,
That's so good.
yeah, I thought that was quite funny.
There we go. Building on each other's success, man.
Yeah, that was great. I think it's awesome.
So with all that journey around, different countries, being a chef, when did you
Yeah.
actually decide to leave, being an employee essentially, and then starting your own thing?
What caused you to make that leap? Because it's something we chatted around with Alexandra Meyer from House of Social about 2 weeks ago. We got quite sort of into that because she was at an agency. She got to a point where she was at breaking point and literally was just like rock bottom. It was just like, I need to make a change.
Yeah.
And then jumped.
Yeah.
How did that process go for you?
What I was saying before is I had the opportunity to either go to London to work at the Fat Duck, which at the time was #2 restaurant in the world,
Nice.
or take the job at Jones the Grocer in Abu Dhabi,
Oh,
because
wow.
that was the first one down there.
Oh, is it Abu Dhabi? I thought Dubai was the first
Yeah,
one.
no, Abu
Yeah,
Dhabi,
Abu Dhabi.
yeah.
Oh, interesting, okay.
Yeah. I had my wife, my girlfriend at the time with me, and we knew we wanted to do something that was meaningful, and I always knew that I wanted to have my own restaurants.
Nice.
Okay.
And I just knew that if I had have taken the job in Bray at the Fat Duck,
Yeah.
#2 restaurant in the world,
Yeah.
I would have gone straight to the bottom of the food chain. It would have been great for my CV, but I just would have done that. I didn't feel like I would have learned something or learned what I needed to learn to get back up to the top.
Nice.
And I also knew that fine dining is extremely competitive.
Yeah.
The lifestyle is not great.
Yeah.
You have to work a lot of hours.
You can swear it.
A shitload of hours
Yeah.
to make sure that you get to the top. And it
Yeah.
takes just this massive commitment.
Yeah.
Not saying that other types of entrepreneurial life don't, but the point is that I just didn't feel that.
There's another level of pressure there, right?
Exactly. And as I said, I was always a creative guy. I was very good at art and graphics and all that sort of stuff when I was a kid. So I knew that there was more to just cooking than just being a chef.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or restaurants and being a chef.
That's a hell of a decision to make because, I mean, from my perspective, which is a complete outsider to the industry, you'd see, okay, #2 restaurant in the world or Abu Dhabi, which a lot of people are like, it's a little bit of a different place to go to. It's a bit like, a lot of people don't know too much about Abu Dhabi before they come.
Yeah.
So you're weighing up these two and to make the decision to go to Abu Dhabi and not take that opportunity, #2 in the world, seems like it's a huge decision.
Yeah.
And it seems like most people would probably take the #2 restaurant in the world, right?
Yeah.
Because of their CV and hopefully they move up and then they move somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's a big decision for you.
Well, you'd think so, yeah. But no, I almost knew straight away what I wanted to do. Yeah, it was the funniest thing. But I remember when I came here, I was like, this place is. I just have this thing in my head that I just know if I served great quality cafe lattes and nice quality sandwiches and salads, I knew that I'd do well here.
Okay.
So you had that vision. You kind of
it was always there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the move from Jones the Grocer across to opening Tom and Serg, which was the first one, right?
Yeah.
What instigated that? Was that a positive move of I've done what I needed to do now I'm taking the big bold step into entrepreneurship, or was it I've had enough of where I am, things aren't going according to plan, I'm going to move?
Yeah.
How did that go for you?
It's funny. I don't want to sound like it was all planned, but most of it was.
Okay.
I knew that I wanted to do around 3 years with them.
Okay.
So I learned because when I was there, they did an incredible job. They opened 7 outlets while I was there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was pretty amazing growth and impressive growth.
It's an amazing learning experience for you
so
to
I
open
learned,
your own, right?
Yeah, really how to do a lot of the stuff that was required to sort of open a business. So
What were the key lessons that you took away from that?
from Jones the Grocer?
Yeah.
Wow, I guess structure. Learning how to do something over and over again it's basically a multi, it wasn't a franchise at the time, but there was a multi-outlet model of the same brand.
Yeah.
So just learning consistency around, getting one product right, one process right, making sure that all the front of house stuff, all the back of house stuff, we're all working in the correct way. But more the customers facing stuff, I really learned quite well there.
Okay.
A lot of the non-customer facing stuff I didn't know so well, but was getting it a little bit. As I said, I was pretty good at economics when I was a kid, so I sort of had a good understanding of business and supply and demand and all that sort of stuff, and profit and loss and all that sort of thing. So I had the basics, but not the fundamentals of definitely how to grow a company that's now got 250 employees.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Which is crazy.
So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
And we were talking about this as well, like before you arrived. This transitioning from being passionate about food, passionate about being a chef, and then traveling to all these countries, and then becoming an entrepreneur and really like a business guy who understands economics, understands how to translate culture within the space. Because I feel like every time we come into one of your restaurants or coffee shops, there's this like common sort of culture that we get greeted by from the customer facing employees, and you almost feel like everybody's got this vibe about them that's very similar as well.
Yeah.
So how do you translate that across, and how did you yourself transition from being passionate about food into becoming a business guy?
Yeah. Okay. So the culture one first. There was some really conscious things that we did at the very beginning when we opened Tom and Serg to make sure that our staff felt like themselves.
Yeah.
Because we knew there was this issue in Dubai at the time. I think it's much better now.
Yeah.
Where there was a lot of privileged customers that were in and around.
Yeah.
And I don't think that maybe the city wasn't as cosmopolitan and hasn't been gentrified exactly to where it is now and all that sort of stuff. So there was a lot of that hanging around. So we sort of had this strategy to do everything that was the opposite of what Dubai was doing at the time.
Okay.
So things like not putting our staff in uniforms, letting them wear whatever they wanted to wear, just sticking an apron on them and just letting them wear their own stuff.
Okay.
Was amazing for them to let their personalities come out.
Okay.
Which was
it's amazing how small things like that can make such a difference.
Right? Honestly, it really, really did. And I think the customers could see that the real person behind them. Yeah. It's not just a name tag and like a uniform that's being created in the States or Europe or whatever. You know,
it's really clear to see. I mean, we even said. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I spent a lot of time in Tom and Serg, and literally high five the guys when you walk in, and they like have a joke, and there's real personality that comes out, and it's not. Let's say the more Dubai traditional service. Yeah. And I think when you guys opened that, or I know when you guys opened that, it was. There's a little bit more of it now, across the city and the country, but certainly back then there was almost none of that. Yeah. So it's like wow, like there's actually someone with a personality at the table that's willing to have a joke and is not sort of isn't worried about their job or somebody complaining about them or anything like that. It was all very, very positive. Yeah. Whereas I think unfortunately, a lot of people in those positions, it's a negative environment in a lot of places that they're afraid of overstepping the mark, so therefore they err on the side of caution. So it's really interesting to see how you develop that.
Yeah, totally. So that seemed to work pretty well, but also we closed at 4:00, which was pretty unheard of in this city. Nice. I think we were I don't know. I don't have my facts on this, but I'm pretty sure we were at least one of the first to do that and focus on breakfast, lunch, and coffee. Nice. And I don't know if we realized it at the time, but it was intentional, but we didn't. I think we were surprised how well it worked.
Okay.
By focusing on closing at 4:00, because it sort of people had to rush to get there before we closed. Yeah. And also the staff were happy because they had their nights off, because hospitality is very night focused usually, so people have to work, into the night, so you become quite nocturnal, and that's not great for your body and your health and all that sort of stuff. And it's that's where the drugs and alcohol come into hospitality, because people finish work so late, and all of a sudden they're how do I wind down? I've got all this energy. So they go out, they go party, whatever. So that's a big issue. So we definitely tried to change that a bit.
Nice. So you had your own culture and focus from the very start, and I think that can translate really well when you come into the restaurant. So what about yourself? Like, how did you personally transition from being just a chef to like a person that runs a business with 250 people? You said. Yeah. How do you sleep? Yeah. How do you sleep at night?
I don't get a heap.
Not well, because three kids.
Yeah, we had 3 under 3, so we were so that's like 3 kids in succession. So my wife's an absolute superstar.
While growing the business as well. That's
exactly.
Nice.
Going through some of the ups and downs of the business as well. Like it hasn't all been plain sailing. It's been a really great journey.
Tell us about that.
Well, you know, as you know, I was a chef, so you know, I really had to learn how to, you know, get into the nitty gritty parts of the business that actually make it run effectively and efficiently. And you know, there was probably a period about 2 years ago where I had to really step in and help lead the company through some change. We had to make some pretty big decisions, and we had some plans that sort of didn't go ahead with some other concepts and whatever, and we had to sort of re-strategize. You know, for example, not doing more licensed venues. We've now sort of strategized in more coffee based businesses and all that sort of thing, which is working really, really well, I think, at the moment. Which is what you see now. We've opened 2 venues, one in DIFC and one in JLT, obviously. I sort of had to, you know, dig in deep, and it took me probably about a year to sort of, you know, step away from the kitchen a little bit, really focus on, you know, working out a lot of the strategy of the business, a lot of the processes and procedures, you know, figuring out the numbers and, you know, how our cost base was, you know, was settling, and what we could do to make it more efficient and more effective. So some pretty big decisions were made, and I had to, you know, make some really tough ones, and that's never easy. But honestly, without doing that, I would not be where I am today as a person. I absolutely am sure of that. That has made me so much stronger for the future. And I'm so grateful for learning some of those things as well. You know.
I mean, so take us through that. So, you know, when things are plain sailing in any business, it's easy to be an entrepreneur if things are going well. It's only when things get difficult that true colors are shown. In terms of, you know, how well can you run a business when things aren't going well? How can you make the big decisions when you have to make those big decisions for the, you know, the needs and the requirements of the wider company? And that involves letting people go. It involves closing down locations. It involves re-strategizing and realizing that maybe the path you're on wasn't the correct path, and, you know, a number of things. So take us through more of your thought process around the headspace of the business. So when you started off as a chef, you're moving into business, you're starting to build something, it builds quite quickly. Then you go through a little bit of a tough time. You go through that process, so that's emotionally draining as well, because you've got family at home, you're building a business, things aren't going so well, you've got to make some really tough decisions. You go through a 2-year period, you come out, and other things are going great again. So how sort of emotionally and sort of mentally how did you navigate that?
Wow, so many different things there. You know, I guess I even knew that for a period there I probably wasn't looking after myself as well as I could have. That's definitely a thing.
And that's a lesson that you've taken away from that?
100%. You know, the last year I've put a lot of effort into my health. You know, going to the gym literally every day. Because it's funny, I used to do triathlons like 5-6 years ago before we opened the business, and I was super fit, like really fit. And then we opened Tom and Serg and got stuck in and all that, and it's just the fitness thing just went out the window. I reckon I went to the gym for like 2 years. At all.
Just didn't have time for it.
Didn't have time for it. Too busy. It's not important. I'm young enough, you know. But
there's always a valid excuse when you've got a business, because if you say to someone, I've got too much work on, people just believe you. So 100%. It's very easy for you to say that, right?
And I could feel it in myself. I knew the clarity wasn't there. I knew it wasn't everything. It wasn't all coming like it used to. You know. So I knew I had to make some changes to just generally my routine and my process, and obviously the kids forced me into rethinking a lot of that. Like you know, like I'm carrying 2 kids up the stairs, and I'm like sort of, you know, geez, that was tough, you know. That's not a good feeling. I'm 33 years old. I shouldn't feel, you know, like I'm struggling to get up the stairs carrying my tiny little kids, you know. So I made a conscious effort, me and my wife both, to sort of get healthy and eat really well. So we really focus on our diets and our eating. Focus on our routines of getting up at the right times, and you know, going to the gym at least every day. I have this new thing now. I'm just like, all I care about is just sweating. If I sweat every day, I'm good. So like, if I go skateboard, I can go skateboard for an hour, and that's like one of the best cardio workouts I can do.
And it gives you that clarity during the day as well, right? Like, it helps you in the business
100%.
part as well.
100%. Without doubt. You know, don't drink much anymore. You know, cutting down on glass of wine at night or whatever, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
really helps. I still drrink lots of coffee though. So
that's all good. Mate, so do we.
Yeah.
Honestly, the amount
maybe
of coffee
a matcha latte today, but
the amount of coffee we get through. That's interesting. So, what would you say, sort of going through that process from a mental perspective? What's your outlook now like, whether it be on life, whether it be on business? If you're facing tough times now, how are you better equipped now than you were, let's say, 3 years ago because of the process that you've been through?
I suppose I'm better equipped just because of the fact that I've just learnt so much through the process.
Okay.
And feel so much more comfortable when big challenges come up because I just know I can get through them.
Nice.
That's one of the biggest things because I remember, it's funny, my dad had a saying when I was a kid, and I was this big surfer when I was a kid. My dad still surfs a lot.
Okay.
And whenever we'd be driving to the ocean or to the beach, where this famous beach called Bell's Beach. I don't know if you're the Point Break. So we are from that area. We live about 5 minutes from that beach. My parents do anyway. So we go surf that place every morning before school.
Nice.
Probably why I didn't do so well at high school. I was always late. So he was cool with it as well.
Okay.
But no, we would go surf together.
Yeah.
And we'd drive over this hill towards Bell's, and you could tell if the surf was big or not.
Nice.
And if it was really big, I used to go, oh my God, I used to get really pretty scared of it.
Yeah.
I always used to say, just don't worry about it, go the hack. And
Okay.
whatever, I think it's an old Australian sort of saying of just, no matter what it takes, just go, just try, just try. So I always just now think of that. I always go the hack and just think if there's a challenge in front of me, just have a go. And
Just
then
get stuck into it.
You'll just figure it out,
Nice. Nice.
So if the big stuff does come up, then I'm sort of like, I feel like through experience and learning and big challenges that you've already accomplished and sort of beaten, I feel like
builds that confidence. I love and I love the whole analogy of the wave, because every single day that sometimes we face like these massive challenges, and it literally feels like there's this massive wave that's going to crash on you.
Sometimes
and if all you think about is just like one step at a time, or sort of one small thing at a time, you forget about the wave, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, the wave is gone.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
It's also, I mean, I relate a lot of this to what I do from a sports perspective, and the whole mental strength game, and how do you build resilience, and how can you say manufacture some of those situations to try and help you in other areas of life. And for me, and the guys I spend time with, we do quite a lot of ultra running, and one of the reasons why I do that is to try and put myself in a really difficult situation that builds that sort of mental resilience that you then I'm wrecked. My back's against the wall. My body's breaking down, and it's like, what do you do next? Like, what decision do you make next? And it's building up that, putting yourself continually in those situations where it's really difficult. And then when you're then approaching the next big challenge, you're like, right, I've been here before. I've dealt with stresses before, and that side of it's really helped. Certainly myself, from a personal perspective, over the last 9 years of business, is finding in fitness really difficult situations that then allow me to be a lot more relaxed in a business environment. Because if you're racing, for example, and there's things it's just going really badly. There's multiple variables that are going really badly, and you work out what's a real problem, what's a perceived problem, and how you then deal with those things. You relate that through to them. A situation in business and we've all been in the situation where you sat there, and there's 4 or 5 people that have come into the office in the last 10 minutes. Everybody's got a major problem, and they think their problem is the most important problem, and you have to deal with it. You can only deal with 2 of these problems because they're quite sizable. And you've got to work out very quickly which one is really going to cause a problem for the business, which one's got to be dealt with now, and what can be actually pushed a few hours, a few days, whichever. And that sort of that mental resilience of just getting into it, that can be overwhelming very, very easily. But as you said, and what was the phrase that you used?
Go the hack.
Go the hack. I've got no idea what that means, but the concept of it is there, right? The more you just get stuck into these situations, the more you can actually learn from, okay, how am I dealing with this from a mental perspective, and how can I then, next time this comes up, how would I act differently? So much of it comes from experience and putting yourself in those difficult situations.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like there's also, I feel more at peace with myself when I know that I've solved that little problem, and it's not hanging over my shoulders. So it's better to just get it done. It saves you from sort of feeling down, or if you feel down about something, it's because you've got a problem to solve that you're not solving.
Yeah.
That's usually what I feel anyway.
And that builds into an insecurity, and then you see a lot of that. That brings us on to something else with regards to leadership. You're running a business of 250 people. That you got your leadership hat. There's a lot going on there. We're aware of our business is smaller than that in terms of number of people, and therefore issues we might have to deal with. But yours is magnified when you've got that many people. At the same time as opening new locations and everything that goes with that, from the sort of the front-facing business, but to have that size of staff in the back end, there's a lot going on. How would you describe how your leadership style has developed over the last few years, and how do you feel that you operate a little bit differently when it comes to sort of management of people?
Again, a tough one, because as a chef, where it's in our blood to sort of now, sort of yelling and screaming and all that sort of stuff. And I used to have that as a kid when I was doing my apprenticeship and stuff like that. I was yelled at a lot. Which is another reason why I feel like I can sort of get through a lot, because I've had that physical and mental
baptism by fire.
Like if you work in some of these top end restaurants in the world, they seriously, it is crazy. If you go through that, like there's seriously, I'm not an advocate at all for it. But I do think that in a way it did help me in some ways or another. But I'm not an advocate for it, because I think that it's more abusive and more detrimental to so many other people that it should not happen at all. And we're totally against, yelling, screaming, swearing, all that sort of stuff in our kitchens, in our company, that we just really just want to eradicate all of that. And for us, it's about just sort of, being more present with people. Like I don't carry my laptop around anymore. I wait till I get home or to the office to do emails and stuff like that, because I just found myself sitting in the cafe, it's just, trying to do emails, and
just blinkers
people
on,
are trying to talk to me, and I'm like, it doesn't work. It's not with me. I just carry a notebook in my backpack, and that's it. Try and get off my phone a bit, just because I just feel like that interaction with the team is so much more appreciated if you're present with them. Because they can always tell if there's something else on your mind. Especially if your computer's open in front of you, like how that's not cool, So they get nothing from you.
So finding that balance is, I mean, that's key.
So that's a big thing. Just being around them, with them 24 hours a day. I'd love to, but no, I also try not to get stuck in the office. And just be in the restaurants. Getting around 6 restaurants is also tough.
That's a full day.
But it's a full day. But just spending as much time with them as possible is, I think, I know I'm a great leader, a better leader for myself when I'm with them. More and more physically, rather than just shooting emails off to people.
And how's your structure set up? So in terms of your leadership team, how do you structure that? And therefore, how do you, let's say, if you've got a senior leadership team that's then obviously translating that leadership style through to the rest of the team, how do you engage with however many sort of senior leaders you have? How do you structure this?
A lot of it's face to face. On the ground, on the day.
So you're a restaurant manager in each of the locations.
Restaurant manager in each of the locations. I've got an operations manager, Matt. You probably know him. He's around everywhere. And then obviously a finance department, and HR department in the office up there. They're the guys. They're the backbone that sort of just get all the stuff done. That's just not the glamorous work, but it is definitely the stuff that absolutely makes this business operate. And they're absolutely ingrained into our culture and know how to induct people, or know how to if some numbers don't come in right, they know how to explain it to the staff. And that's like, again, face-to-face interaction, going there and talking it through with them, rather than just seeing them and saying, hey, that's not right, because half the time they don't even understand it. That's a reality. Like in restaurants, you've got a load of ambitious people, I think, that work in restaurants. They're aspirational people, I think. They're creative people that work in restaurants. Numbers are not their game usually. So we need to be in there with them, explaining them
educational
the impact of what numbers are, and so emails don't work.
And also getting that buy-in as well. If you like, if they don't buy into it, and if they don't adopt your vision or targets, then it'll be difficult to implement.
But that's the thing. Like we are all trying to make sure that we make this place like almost like a one-stop shop for hospitality education. I really like the idea of the fact that because we have so many different restaurants, so many different cuisines, a coffee roastery, a bakery.
Yeah.
It's almost like I don't know, I like to think of it as a little breeding ground for the next F&B superstars, you know.
Wow.
That's what I'm trying to,
Yeah.
that's what I try to think. So they've all got this opportunity to
I love that
learn
idea.
all these different skills.
We have a very similar conversation when we're going through the hiring process internally, because we've got a full production house, full digital marketing team, social team, design team, mass email communication. So within the agency, we've got also multiple different skill sets, and people can work in one or the other, or they can have a hybrid role across a number. So one of the things, the key questions we always ask when we're going through that interview process is, what would you want to do if you came in here on Sunday? And the person, oh, you know, I really like a bit of production, and I'd love to be on set sometimes, but you know, social's my game, so maybe we can mix some content stuff, and I'd like to know more about sort of mass email. And so then we think, okay, well, cool, well, maybe we put them specifically on this account, but we say, right, well, they're also going to look after this from the production perspective, and they're going to spend some time in the first 6 months on let's say, the email team. So and this is, again, something that we always discuss, is if someone comes through the process of being within our agency, let's say, 3 to 5 year period, whatever that might be, we want them to be better people and better professionals when they leave. So the people side of it comes from the culture that we have and our leadership style and how we try and foster talent. But from a professional side, we want them to come in and say, like, right, if they join us just on production or just on social, hopefully, and our game plan is that when they leave, they've got an understanding of multiple different areas of digital marketing, content creation. So they feel that, again, as you said, that's why that really sort of resonates with me.
Yeah.
That it's almost like a small breeding ground for digital, in the same way yours is with regards to hospitality. So it's great to have those different elements of the business that you can bring in and sort of pull together.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, no one's there just to be part of the furniture, are they?
No,
Like, if someone's stagnating, no one wants to just stagnate.
No,
Everyone
you're right.
wants the opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
So, the more we can give it to them, the better, I think.
Exactly that. In closing, one of the questions I had for you is, you bucked the trend with regards to, you've opened multiple restaurants and businesses, different branding, different naming. So why do that?
Well,
Because you've got a job every time you open a new concept. You've got a whole job to tell the market that it's actually you guys.
Yeah.
You've already got that brand equity. So as soon as the market knows that, they're like, okay, we buy into this because we know the quality.
Yeah.
But if you opened Tom and Serg multiple times, that would have been a lot easier for you.
Yeah.
So what's the thought process around that?
Well, we didn't just want to follow what everyone else is doing.
Okay.
And we knew we needed to be different.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing. Tom and Serg needed to be a slam dunk from day one, which is why it was in El Cuz, so it got noticed.
Yeah.
We did everything, the opposite of what we should have done.
Yeah.
And it was successful, and because it had a personality.
Yeah.
But we knew if we'd created multiple versions or multiple outlets of that, it would just lose its personality.
Okay.
Which is basically what we tried to do. We just wanted to keep it one off, make it special, make it a destination.
Okay.
Make it iconic, that sort of thing.
Nice.
That said, there is potentially plans for a new one coming up at some point.
Okay.
And that's based on the idea that we get so many, demands for Tom and Serg on the weekend. As you know, it's crazy busy. It gets packed. Often we get lines at the door, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we've actually found the location.
Okay.
That is big.
Okay.
That just screams destination, screams flagship location. So we do have another one in the pipeline.
Nice.
Good for you.
But again, it's going to have a slightly different personality to the original one.
Nice.
Okay.
But still under the same umbrella.
Nice.
So I'm super excited.
Inside
about that.
news.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nice.
So in closing, what's next for you? You mentioned with regards to the new Tom and Serg. What's new for the business, and what's new for you? So what's next for you personally?
Yeah. We've got in the business. You mean?
Yeah, both sides. Personally and business wise.
Yeah, holiday coming up soon, I think.
Yeah.
So that would
well needed. Well needed.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I'm just going home for my mum's birthday for a while, so with all the family, so that'll be
Nice.
fun. We have another Common Grounds opening up, hopefully around September, October in Business Bay, actually.
Okay.
So
Very cool.
we've got a really beautiful location. It's actually in like a glass pyramid.
Oh wow. Okay.
We're super excited about it. It's going to look really, really sexy.
Amazing.
So it's fairly large. Have a beautiful outdoor terrace area as well.
Nice.
Same menu as you see in Common Grounds, Moldy Emirates, DIFC, and JLT.
Yeah.
And that's not licensed, right? That's
non-licensed. Just purely focused on specialty coffee, really great quality, organic, vegan,
Cool.
vegetable-based menus, as well as some of the we've still
Yeah.
got burgers and stuff like that. But that's sort of more the focus for Common Grounds now, is going down that healthy route, and making everything in-house and all that sort of stuff. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Cool.
One last question. It just
Go.
popped into my mind. There's a lot of talk about the economy now not being in the best shape.
Yeah.
What's your mindset around that with regards to you're growing your business as fast as you are? Probably, am I right in saying it's the fastest growth that you've had since you started the company in terms of the number of locations?
The last couple of months into the next year,
Yeah.
it probably will be. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
right.
so how?
Yeah.
What's your mindset around risk taking when there's a lot of news and there's a lot of hearsay around the market that it's not the market that it might potentially be, or that it was? What's your
Yeah.
thought process around that?
I get stuck in traffic every morning in Dubai.
Okay.
And I can see people in their cars smashing coffees. So
That's that's your
that
barometer.
for
Right,
me,
there we
I'm
go.
like, you know what?
There we go.
I
It's
still
see
there.
traffic, I
Yeah,
see
yeah.
coffees. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy.
Okay, fair enough, mate. Fair
So
enough.
I'm
Okay.
confident. I'm really confident with
Yeah.
Dubai. I love this place.
Nice.
Awesome. Great. Well, look, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time, mate. Congratulations on the new location. We think it's awesome. We are about 300 meters away from here in terms of our office, so we're going to be in here a lot. So yeah, look, awesome. Thanks a lot for coming in.
Excellent. Thanks, guys. Awesome.
Nice. All good.
Cool.
Cool.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Man.